Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey, everybody, we're glad you're here today.
We are so excited to have you here. We not only have a training that I think is pretty highly requested by most folks in our community, but we also have some very exciting feature updates to share with you. And those pertain specifically to our blog and to our store. So before we dive into today's content around scheduling, because today we are talking about integrating schedulers and calendar booking with your AttractWell site to create a seamless experience and keep everything all organized, integrating your Zoom that's included with AttractWell into how you conduct your calls. Before we get into that, I want to actually hop over and show you guys a couple of really exciting new changes that we have just launched to AttractWell. As you're coming in, head over to the chat. Tell us where you're coming in from. Tell us what you do. What's your business? Who do you serve? We're always looking to learn more about you and the community that is fast growing here with AttractWell. So first things first, just a couple of quick updates. So when you're in your dashboard, if you are blogging with AttractWell, you go down to your blog posts here, we have a brand new and exciting feature. So I'm going to show you this one here. Let me go and unpublish this post here real quick. And let's just pretend we have created a new blog post that we have not yet launched. Now, we do have this option that's right down here for when the post is published, that we can send it out to our contacts. Now, this kind of helps you to skip the step of syndication, meaning you don't have to go and find the link to this blog post and then go schedule a separate email to go out. This would actually shoot the blog content out to the people that you select the moment that the blog post is published. And so if that's something that's interesting to you, you will love the fact that we now have the ability to send an excerpt only. So not the entire volume, the entire contents of the blog post, but just the excerpt from the blog post that you set up in the advanced options here. Right, so in the advanced options, you're probably going to put something like this together. Whenever you're choosing to have this published, what you do is you say, yes, I want to send it out via email. I want to do the excerpt only. And then, of course, you choose whatever the tag is for that segment of your list that you would be sending this content out to. And what it's going to do is it's going to show up literally as an email from you that has this, and it says, read more, click here. They click the link and it takes them straight to this blog post. So it's a really cool thing that is brand new in the system. One other thing that you might find particularly cool and interesting, especially for those of us who have been paying attention to the new store feature in AttractWell, you are not limited to e-commerce or to selling your goods and services personally. You now, if you're an affiliate marketer, for example, have the ability to list things that don't necessarily have to be purchased on your site itself directly from your store. This is something that you could also do if you have a recurring payment option product in your vault. You could also have that listed here as a product, but then send folks over to a checkout page, for your vault, or if you have a separate sales page for an offer, or if you're an affiliate or a brand partner for a company, you can feature products that are ultimately sold via your link on another site. This, of course, would certainly work well for you if you are curating and collecting products that are maybe sold on Amazon, for instance, if that's part of what you do, but there's really no limit to how you do that. So basically what we do here is we go to add a product, and in your product type here, you can go listing only. And then of course you got to give it a name, a price, etc. Follow all the steps that we did in our recent training, and be sure to look at the store playlist on our YouTube channel if you want to go into greater detail. But you basically just have to make sure that you include a link via a button here in this listing. And what you do here is you could either paste a link, and we can just, let me just grab, I'm going to pretend like this is a link from somewhere where something is purchasable. We can paste it here from wherever. We're going to go to style, change that to a button, and then I'm going to go and change the text to click here. And of course, if you have all of your text and everything up above here. This is going to show up in the listing. Of course, you have your button where you send them off to wherever it is that you want them to go to make their purchase. Of course, this would need to be your affiliate link, if this is something that's tracking your sales that are ultimately purchased through another entity. But yeah, now you have the ability to not only have physical products, digital products, services, you can also have things that are only a listing on your storefront, or you can send folks off to other places where they might make a purchase there. So that is that with our brand new and exciting new updates. Big props to Greg for getting those things done. Thank you very much. We see some excited affiliates here in the chat. If you're an affiliate for something, this is a reason to be very excited. You can spotlight and feature products that you particularly love from the lines that you promote, and even put those in context around the stuff that you're already promoting. So if you're doing a challenge or something like that, and maybe there's a collection of supplements or something like that that you recommend for the challenge, you could have all of that right there that people can see and then go purchase, which is super duper exciting. Oh, thank you, Spencer. We think you're awesome too. All right, so I'm going to get out of video here because I've got some slides and I want to make sure that this is all really nice for our YouTube recording. But we're going to get back into video here in just a bit. All right, so today, you guys, we are talking about calendar booking and scheduling with AttractWell. So what we'll be getting into today are, of course, this calendar booking and scheduling, and we're going to talk about specifically how you can seamlessly integrate scheduling for your leads and clients. As of the time of filming, we do not currently have a native embedded scheduler included with AttractWell. And so even we, as folks who are using AttractWell behind the scenes with you and for you, we utilize third-party booking software at this stage as well, because that is the only option that we have. It is on our wish list to have our own native scheduler. It's a huge undertaking, but we're going to show you today how you can, in a very affordable and very easy way, integrate calendar scheduling into the work that you're doing with AttractWell without having to tie a whole bunch of pieces together. It's literally 3 steps. And once you have it done, you really don't have to think about it much. I rarely ever log into my scheduler, ever. Everything just happens from AttractWell because I set these things up the way that I'm going to show you guys today. All right, so first, of course, if you haven't already, head over to our chat. Let us know who you are. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know what you do. We're always excited to learn more about you. If you have questions and you need help on this live call, this is a call that is designed to help you with whatever you're working on right now. So add your questions to the Q&A so that we can support you while we're here. This is a live work session, not just a time to sit back and listen to me talk. We get to talk together. And then if you want to work together live, as one person will be doing with me here today, you can go to attractwell.com/work-review, sign up for dedicated space on a call like this one, or we could work on whatever you want. And of course, if you aren't already, you'll see this, of course, if you're watching the YouTube channel, attractwell.com/office hours, head over here and sign up to be on the list to get notified of our upcoming calls. And of course, be the first to know about our replays. And of course, as you are working through all of the stuff that we teach here and on our YouTube channel, and you ever find yourself in the position where you're like, this is all nice and it makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad you're telling me this stuff, but I kind of just want somebody to do it for me. Great news. We've got really qualified people to help you with that. You can go to attractwell.com/concierge. And our team can help you, whether you want done with you, you want somebody to be with you, to teach you how to do something so you can continue moving forward on your own. If you want somebody to handle something for you, like a VA on an ongoing basis, we've got that. If you've got a one-time project, whatever it might be, our team is here to support you. All right, so if we're looking for a way to let your leads and clients book with you automatically, you're probably also looking for a way to do this without having them jump all over the free world, right? It's not really a good look, and it's definitely not good for your website authority, big picture, for you to send somebody from your website to another place, right? We want them to stay on your website for as long as possible. It's beneficial to them. It's beneficial to your business, right? So if those are something that you're looking for, we've got you covered today. So first, we're going to take a quick look at how we set up a call funnel for leads, okay? There are 2 workflows, and resources that you can use for this. And one is going to be for leads and one is going to be for clients. These are by no means a definitive or exhaustive set of options for you, but I just want to show you two simple, logical, useful for most cases options here. Okay. So call booking funnel. That's what we're going to start off with here. So this is something that's going to allow anyone who has the link to the first page of it to fill out a form and then be delivered to your calendar. Okay, so this is something that you're going to use if somebody wants to make an inquiry, if you speak and they'd like to have a chat with you to see if you'd be a fit for their organization. If you are a coach and you have discovery or strategy calls before you offer someone the opportunity to work with you one-on-one. This is what would live at the front of your business, right? This is actually something we go into some detail about how to set this up in the Client Funnel Challenge. We do have a course that teaches this, but we're going to give an abbreviated version of how to do this here today. And I'm going to walk through how I set everything up. So first things first, we're looking at one page. It looks like 2 pages here on the top left, but what it is we've got a page and then we've got a pop-up. This could also be just a section of your homepage. And you could have an on-page form as opposed to a pop-up. You do have options with how this shows up visually and what the interaction looks like. So here, we're giving the call to action. Let's talk, right? And on our call, we're going to talk about these things. And if that's them, they want that, they click the button. They click the button, it pops up. They fill out information. Obviously, I need your name, I need your phone number. And then I need to know these things about you and your business. Think about anything that you would be asking somebody prior to them taking up an hour or however long of your time. You probably want to ask some questions of this person, right? Before you get on a call and spend an entire section of your day with a person, right? So you ask these questions. Now, after they have filled out this form, we send them the page to book with you. Now, this is a page in your AttractWell account where we embed your calendar that you're using from a third-party service. Now, the other thing that happens here, and this is my personal preference, because any Joe Blow can go to a form on a website and put in bunk information just to get to the next page, right? I personally prefer to send someone to a confirmation page after they fill something out, unless they paid. If somebody paid for this, I'll send them straight to the calendar. But if they didn't pay for anything, then I would actually prefer to send them to a confirmation page. And then in the email that goes out to them, because they better have the right email address, otherwise they're not getting my calendar. So in the email that goes out, and that's a campaign down here at the bottom, it's a message that says, I'm so glad that you reached out. Here's a link to get on my calendar. I look forward to speaking with you. Right? And this is just happening on your behalf automatically, right? This sends them over to the page, of course, with the form embedded to book a call. And you do optionally, you don't have to do this, but in your scheduler, if you've got a plan level that allows this, then you could have an additional confirmation page saying, our call is confirmed. I'm looking forward to speaking with you, right? You don't have to, but it is something that you could do, and you would attach that inside your scheduler. We'll talk about that a bit more here in a little bit. So the first page of this funnel, whether you're using this for a lead or a client, it's got a form that requests information. You can also charge for a call from this page. So you can take that information and somebody can actually book and pay. All you have to do is set up payments. And alongside that information, they're also putting in their card information to pay. Okay, so this is free or paid, discovery call or paid call. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. The second page, the second page in this funnel is a page that has, excuse me, your calendar booking event embedded. And like I said, that's the one right here with the form embedded, if you see that there. That's where they're going to go after they've filled out the form. From this point, the registrant is either sent to the booking page directly, or we're sending them that link to the booking page in their email after they've opted in. So you can optionally choose. I am okay. Sorry about that. I just took a drink and it went the wrong way. So you can optionally choose to actually send them to a confirmation page, like I mentioned, after they've booked. That's the one there right on the end. All right, so let's look at an example that you could use for your existing clients. And this is basically identical. It's just what we're asking for on the first page is slightly different, right? So what we're doing here is we're saying, hey, let's catch up on your progress. So the example here would be you're working with a client and maybe you've got stages or sort of steps that you follow with them. And you have a call for stage 1. They fill out their information. Maybe you get some metrics from them. Here are the things that I'm doing. Here are the things that I've done. Here are my current numbers, et cetera. And then you do this for the second stage, right? So you can set it up this way. It's where you're actually collecting information as you go with your client. And then of course you send them after they filled it out to a place where they can book their time. And then of course you move ahead with your call as scheduled, right? So if a client has already pre-purchased a package of calls and it's time for their next one, there's another option here where you can send the booking page to them first, and then you would manually go in and schedule an email that'll remind them to fill out a form prior to their call with you. And basically what that looks like is this. You give them the link, and that's again, it's a page on your AttractWell site that's got your form embedded, or sorry, your excuse me, your calendar embedded. And then you schedule an email or a text message that sends them a link to the form that you want them to sign up on and fill their information out on prior to your call, so that you're prepared for the call and they've caught you up on everything. So in either case, there are 3 important things that you need to do. These are the things that you need to know to do in your AttractWell system as it connects to your scheduler, okay? First things first, you're gonna wanna create a recurring Zoom meeting in AttractWell and copy the link, meaning the attendee link, not the start now link, but the link that you would send to somebody that you're inviting to the Zoom, okay? That's the first thing. You're going to go into AttractWell, you're going to create a recurring Zoom meeting and copy its link. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to take that link, you're going to log into your calendar software, and for the location of your booking event, you're going to add that Zoom URL. So now when somebody schedules themselves using your scheduler, the location that's going to be sent to them on your behalf from the scheduling platform and via calendar, if they are receiving a calendar link, the location is going to be that call. And that call is the one that you set up in your AttractWell system. You're going to be launching that from AttractWell. And then finally, you're going to go to that booking event, and I'm going to walk through and show you exactly how to do this, you guys, so don't worry. So the last thing we're going to do here is to use the inline embed option from your calendar software and then add it to a page in AttractWell, and that's going to create your booking page. Now you can have multiples of these if you have multiple types of booking events, right? If you have one that's just for your private clients, if you have another that's just for prospective clients, you can do this multiple times for multiple purposes if that's what you do. Okay. Now, if you're planning to redirect to someone to a confirmation page after they've booked, then you may want to create a separate confirmation page that says you're good to go. I'm looking forward to talking with you. And you would actually be linking that in your scheduler. And it's not necessary, especially since you're embedding on the page itself that's in AttractWell. It's not something that you have to do, but it is something that you could optionally do. All right, so let's actually go see this in action. I want to show you an example of this that is complete. And it's actually an example that I have used in the past. If you give me just a moment, I'm going to pull it up. And I believe I've shown this. I've shown this on a previous call before, but I think it bears repeating. One moment. I actually wasn't originally planning to show this, but I'm going to, because I think that it's a good example of something that you could use. let me see, landing page. I think this is it. Yes, yes, it is. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, so here we go. First page. I'm telling you to apply for a call with me now. This is for leads. We click the button, a pop-up comes up, and I'm asking lots of questions because this is for a high ticket offer. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to fill this out. Oops. Just so you guys can actually see what the whole thing looks like. Right? So I'm just going to paste, obviously this is incorrect information throughout, but whatever. Just so you guys will see what it looks like. So once somebody has filled out all of their information on your intake form, then they click the button. And see, I have, like I mentioned, I prefer to send somebody to a confirmation page because if they didn't give me a good email address, then I don't want them to have access to my calendar. If they didn't give me a good email address and they're a real person who actually wants to communicate with me, they can see that if they don't hear from me, then of course they can reach out and of course they can then be in touch. Now let's see. Let me find, I don't have that just yet. Of course, I did just get an email confirming that I got somebody here. The next thing that's going to happen is we're going to go to a booking page. Let me find that real quick. There it is. Let's go view it. And in case this is like unfamiliar to you guys, this is in a sister platform that we have that's identical to AttractWell. Okay, so this is the booking page. When it shows up here. My computer is super slow today. So you guys saw that the first thing that we're doing is we are gathering information. So another option could be when you are when you're on that page. So this is what it looks like before it's actually published. And for some reason, my computer is not wanting to display this, but they're going to go they're going to get a message via email that's going to send them to a page. Here it is. They're going to go and they're going to select. This is Calendly, by the way. I have a lot of clients, just so you know, if you guys are curious, with Calendly, you can get away with using their free plan if, generally speaking, you have one length of time you use for the majority of your calls. If the majority of your calls are 45 minutes, then you can just simply have a 45-minute call and call with whoever your name, right? And then you could use this exact same booking page in every funnel that you need to use a scheduler for. Having a single booking event in Calendly is on the free plan. And if you streamline how you work to where you have one length of time you meet with somebody, then you can get away with using the free plan for a long time. A lot of my clients do this because everything is embedded on an AttractWell page. If you want to say something else up top here, you can because it's on your site, right? So anyway, I'll go ahead and finish this and schedule this. And now you'll also see, because it's redirecting, I've chosen to include an additional confirmation page here. And this is something that's set up in Calendly. Another thing you guys should know, just to kind of get back to the point about, choosing what you use when you are setting yourself up with a scheduler. I believe the next level up, like the cheapest paid option from Calendly, is $8 a month if you pay annual, which is cheaper than Canva and like worth its weight if scheduling is an important thing that you need. And if you follow the steps that I'm about to show you, I've already shared with you, but now that I'm going to show you, then you basically never have to interact with your scheduler because everything lives on your AttractWell site. So that what I mentioned before, the first thing that we're going to do is go to Zoom meetings. And then we're going to, and actually here's an example. I have one set up as client calls right here, but let's go ahead and create a new one in case you've never done it before. We'll go to create meeting, and this will be a strategy call. It's recurring. Nobody's going to see any of the information you put here. I'm not going to automatically start video. I'm going to enable the waiting room because I want to make sure it's the person that I'm supposed to be meeting with. And I'm going to create the meeting. Obviously, you can make other choices based on your preference. So once you've created this, go to copy link. Okay. Now, when we go over here, we're logged into Calendly. We obviously, we have a team plan. So we have a lot of features unlocked, but you could literally just create a single one. We're going to create a event type. It's just going to be a one-on-one. And this is going to be strategy call or call with, I'm going to call this call with Jane. The location, scroll down to custom. And then we're going to type that in, or rather paste it in because it's a very long link. And we're only going to display it after confirmation. Now, you may not use Calendly. You might use Schedule Once. You might use Acuity, whatever it is that you use. You certainly don't have to use Calendly. We aren't affiliates. They don't even have an affiliate program. They should. That's a thing for another day. But you could do this with any scheduler, the things that I'm sharing with you right now. Make sure that the recurring Zoom location is something that you put into the Zoom meeting. You put into the location here, right? Put in any information that you want to share here. And then, of course, make sure you've got your calendars connected, et cetera. If all of our meetings are generally 30 minutes or 45 minutes, then we'll do that. We're going to complete the setup here. If you want to use a confirmation page, you certainly can, right? So you can redirect to an external site. This is with a paid plan. This isn't going to work on the free Calendly. And again, it's optional. You don't have to. But if you wanted to redirect to a confirmation page at the end, you certainly could. That's up to you. I'm not going to do that right now because it's not necessary. So let's go back. And there's call with Jane. Now, the final thing that we need to do, because that was step 1 and 2, final thing we need to do is to share this. Go to add to website. Inline embed is the option you're looking for. Continue. Copy the code. Obviously, again, if you want to dial in your branding, you certainly can if you are at a plan level that makes sense for you. But you're pasting it onto a page that's already got your branding anyway. So now we're going to go create a page that's going to be our booking page, and we're going to be able to use this booking page absolutely everywhere. So we go to create page. I'm going to go to a blank page because we really don't need a whole lot of busyness happening here. So I'm just going to add a section. And this is one column, no header. I'm going to delete what's here. I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to go to more miscellaneous, click code view, and then just make sure you're going in between these little brackets and paste. There she is. Close the code view. You might not see it, and that's okay. Go to done. There it is. Now, do you want to brand this to you? Do you want to make it look more like you? That's cool. Add a section up top, maybe add a header section. Maybe add a color background or an image background. Here we go. We'll put this guy in here. I'll delete the text. You could have text here if you wanted. Maybe I want to do this on the top and the bottom, kind of make it cute. And inside of this section here, maybe I want to say, pick a time that works for you below. I'm excited to chat with you, right? All right, so then I'm going to make that a little bigger. I'm going to go to paragraph and make this a heading. Perfect. And then I'm going to click done, save. And this is, we're going to call this book call with Jane. By link only, unless you want anybody in the world to find this. By link only, right here. And then I'm going to hit done, save. And I already have one of those. So I change the URL, save, and view. There we go. All right, so now we have our scheduler right here, right? So you get to create that. And then once you've got that done, that can live on the other side of a form where somebody opts in, you could also alternately just have that link that's shared more publicly on your site if you don't mind having something, that's on the other side of any link on your website where somebody could just go there without qualifying first. You are welcome to do that. But maybe this, what you're offering right here is your call, right? Like, let's set up a call. So I'm going to change the verbiage here and have this say, let's talk. I should actually change that and update it. So let's talk, update, there we go. And then when I go to settings, maybe what I'll do here is this obviously would need to talk about what we'll talk about on our call. And then I can go in and I can add some additional fields here. Maybe I want to ask her some questions, have her pick answers that suit her, or give long or short answers, etc. And then what I would do here is after she opts in, I would send her to book a call with Jane. And so that means after she has opted in, using the form here that pops up when we click this button here on the home page. When she clicks this, after filling all this information out, she will then be taken to book, right? And now it's on her calendar, it's on your calendar. And then of course, whatever you have chosen here in, sort of the questions that you've asked, you actually don't have to ask any questions other than their name and email here. You can delete that. All you need is their name and email to put them on the calendar. But if you want to, modify your notifications, your emails, your texts, et cetera, that may or may not come out from your scheduler, you could certainly do that. But it's going to be really minimal, right? Anything that you do at that point, if you've got your Zoom link is the location of your call and you've got that set up, your page is embedded, your form is embedded where they can book with you directly. Then, now all you have to do is just get notified of when things are on your calendar, right? So if you have a Google Calendar or whatever, calendar you prefer to use, you're just going to get a notification that somebody is booked with you, just as you would in any other case. And they will have any information that they put in ahead of time is going to be in their contact form in AttractWell. Which is awesome because, if you're using a scheduler, they don't have they're not a contact manager. That's not going to tell you whatever answers to their questions were that they put there. You might get those on your calendar, but that's not helpful to you if it's not inside your contact manager. So, yeah, let me see if there are any questions here. Please feel free to ask. Can we have a copy of these pictures? Cece, what pictures are you referring to? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, but if they're pictures that we have, it's a really, really high chance they came from Canva. If you can clarify, we'd be happy to share. Yeah, so Valerie, I see your hand raised. If you have a question, could you put it into the Q&A, or at least maybe go into the chat and let us know that you want to talk. Oh, you're talking about. Got you. So the actual sort of outline of the funnels themselves. Tell you what, this is something that I could send out, but if anybody would like to take a screenshot of them right now, you're more than welcome to. And let me grab those for you here real quick. Okay, so that's the main one. Or actually, this is the one that would be for the client, but it's the exact same architecture, right? So you've got a page. The page has a pop-up or an on-page form. After it's filled out, that's when they go to that booking page that we just made, right? And all you got to do is have one email and a campaign that's attached to that first page that says, hey, don't forget, here's your link to book. Could you make it without the campaign? Yes. Does that create a hole in the bucket? Also, yes. So definitely do this just in case somebody missed the redirect or whatever, so that you can actually make sure that they get that link to book with you. Okay. How did you set up the original form that you had for filling in details prior to the call? So I think we actually have a more in-depth training on creating custom forms on our AttractWell channel. But just so you know, it's a feature of our pages, right? So this is a page here. And under settings and under leads, after you click settings, it's right down here. right? So this is where you would ask, on a scale of 1 to 4, are you whatever, right? We're going to require that question be answered. And I'm going to use a drop down list because I want her to select 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? So I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? And then I want her to tell me more why you chose that option, right? And I'm going to not have this one. And then what I'll do is I'll actually show you what this looks like. And Greg just pasted an article here in the chat as well, so you can learn more about those. So when we click this, you can see name, email, phone on a scale of 1 to 4, which one are you, right? You can check it, and then they can type this information in here. And then once they do that, all of this is going to go into your contact manager under that person's contact. And that's the other thing too. You're going to get notified when somebody opts in to have a call with you. And then you can be on the lookout. If they haven't scheduled yet with you, you know you need to follow up with that person, right? And you could use a follow-up plan to this end as well, with an automation, and attach that to that page, so that you're reminded within 24 to 48 hours to double check and make sure that that person is booked with you. Okay. Do you have an instruction sheet to guide you through that process? It's pretty complete. So, I mean, there's an article on how to do it, and we do have a video that kind of walks through. Len, specifically your question there about setting up, I don't know if you're talking about the form, but really all you need to do for the for setting up the like your calendar integration, obviously you need to create your account in whatever your calendaring platform is. You need to make sure it's connected to your actual availability in your calendars, that you're connecting to it. And then of course you take the most important things, and how we connect this to AttractWell are really threefold, optionally 4. And that is having that recurring Zoom link that lives in your AttractWell account, having that be the location of your call, right? The second thing would be, actually it's 3 things, because that's a 2-step process. Create the thing, add it to the location for the event in your scheduler. And then the third is to take the inline embed code from your scheduler and paste it onto a page in your AttractWell site. Once you have those things done, you're really good to go. And then of course, again, if you want to have that perfectly seamless, they literally never leave your site, then I would use a confirmation page after booking. Create a simple page in AttractWell that has like a, hey, I'm looking forward to speaking with you. And then have that be what you set the redirect up as in Calendly. So when people go through the funnel that I demonstrated to you guys today, they never leave the site. Everything is all in one place. And so when they're done booking, they could choose to go read the blog. They could choose to go to another place. They're still on the site, which is really the most optimal outcome. But again, if you're in a budget situation, I have so many folks who just use free Calendly for this. And so they have a, 1-hour call with you, or 45-minute call with you, that could be used for anything. You don't have to have a Calendly event for clients and a Calendly event for leads. You can just have a call event. And then depending on what page you embed it on in your AttractWell account, because you can get way more of those, right? Then you can have, hey client, I'm looking forward to catching up with you. And then it's literally the same booking form. And you're going to be able to go and look at their contact card in AttractWell, and you'll know what kind of call it's for, because that's in your AttractWell account, right? So I hope that makes a lot of sense. What I would like to, actually, it's a couple questions here, or one. Can these questions work on your text message program, or is it as simple as creating the page and it's just viewed on a phone? Yeah, so if you're wanting to have like an intake form, then you would create that on a page, and it's absolutely mobile responsive. The forms that you build on our pages are 100% mobile responsive. Now, this is an interesting question, Melody. You do have the ability in setting up text messages to have text in keywords or secondary text in keywords, where if somebody, texts back the word, I don't know, whatever the word is, then that might trigger a new campaign that maybe gives the link to book with you. You could do something like that. That's an interesting thing to create. It's a limited use case, right? Like, and unless like the people that you anticipate connecting with are like people who don't have email addresses, which is, I don't know, aside from like my 15-year-old who now actually has one. I don't know who doesn't have email addresses anymore. But yeah, there's technically a way to do it via text, but you're going to want to use, if you're trying to get substantive answers, I would use a form on a page and it'll go to a phone. Okay, so we do have, and thank you so much for your patience. Let me bring you out here to chat. Okay, I don't want to butcher your name. I don't know if it's Kia or Kaya. Hi, hello. Let me know how to pronounce your name correctly, please.
Hi, it's Kia.
Hi, Kia. So excited to have you here. Tell me what you are hoping to learn more about.
Oh man, there's so much. Where to begin? I think right now, yeah, the calendar thing has been kind of confusing. Just as I onboarded, I'm coming from like 17 different things. All of my work up to this point has been in person with group ceremonies, traveling the North and South America. So to take everything online with, I just kind of did things as they were needed over the last 10 years. So now trying to hone in all that information into one site, which I'm so excited is all in one site. It helps my brain so much. I'm just kind of in the space of like, I'm getting to the places where I can't do the things like, one is the calendars. Like I have Acuity, I have Square, I have Squarespace, I have Calendly. So I did all the things that you said, such as getting like that calendar booking for like a connection call on there. That's completed. And I also have like different kinds of sessions. My work is kind of very big scope right now. And I'm working with Jessica to kind of like hone in how to like bring it all together, smaller, more easy, more manageable for me. So I also have Acuity scheduling, which is linked through my old Squarespace website. I would like to just let go of more things. And so the Calendly, yeah, I've got it all hooked up, but I don't know what's happening on the back end of anything. So it's working, I'm getting the notifications, and then it's kind of like, I have to go in and try to find it, try to get a hold of them, let them know, copy the Zoom link. So like what you were talking about today with getting that, the location, that would be something good. Also the forms of like, I would love for people to just be able to get on there and like you were just showing, fill out all the things, sign up, that I don't have to attend to every single little thing. That would be amazing.
Yeah, well, can we maybe break down sort of what the anatomy of one of those sequences might look like, where you're normally having to show up and serve, where we can maybe automate that?
Yes. So one of the things that I do is I offer one-on-one sessions, distance and in person. My pricing has been everywhere, just kind of by the seat of my pants kind of thing. So normally people would text me. I'm getting messages on Facebook, Messenger, Telegram, Signal, and everywhere, just from people knowing me in person, WhatsApp. So it's, if I miss something, it sucks. They'll call me, text me, hey, can I sign up for a one-on-one? So then I'll go into like Acuity, I'll set up an appointment, which takes about, an hour, if at the, when it goes smoothly, and then get the link, copy that, paste that into the text message response to them. They'll sign up. Yeah, it's been such a mess. And so I would love to, yeah, so I've got it, I think all like the basics set up here, but I'm not exactly sure what's happening on the back end, if I've got things hooked up right or.
Got you. Okay. And are these, so obviously, not having access to like, your booking stuff, like it's hard for me to say one way or another, but how about, let's look at, let me see if I can kind of just like make a little thing here. Okay, so if you have your main offer is, or your first offer, and I'll actually just pull this funnel thing back up here in Freeform and show you.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
so
ahead.
you're offering your call here, right?
Mhm.
So basically, if you have it set up the way that I've shared here today, you would just send them this link, or you would say, you know, text them back and say, it's called this on my calls page. You can find the calls page in the menu of my website, like even if you don't know off the top of your head. Now, is there something that you need from them? Like, can they give you all the information before they book and you're good to go for your call? Or would you want to get preliminary information and then get something in greater depth after? Like, what does that look like for you that works for what you do?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It gives me clarity. So the one-on-ones, distance sessions, that's actually not like my real passion. So I do in-person work with ceremony, very in-depth work. So I need to do like a medical pre-screening. I need to find out certain information like about their heart, medical stuff, if they're even a candidate to work with me in that way. And
Okay.
then so after they fill out that, then we have a consultation. So it would be nice to kind of screen them first
Mhm.
in that way.
Yeah. And so in order for you to screen them to know if they're a candidate, do they need to submit a bunch of stuff to you first, or can they answer a few questions?
Yeah, it's definitely the questions, the form thing.
Okay.
And it goes back to that where I'm still trying to figure or learn that.
Got you. All right. So what you would do then is obviously we would treat this a bit differently. So they would fill this out. And then what you'll also want to attach here. So this is a campaign. This is a single message is going to go out. And in this particular case, what you're going to want to say in that message is, I'll be in touch. Right. Right. Because you don't know whether or not they're a candidate. You need to make sure that that's really clear on this page here. Right. So I'll be in touch. So you're going to review their candidacy. So one of the things that you're also going to need to do here attached to this page after somebody opts in is you're going to want to attach an automation. And I'll just make this, let me make it a different shape here. I don't want you to be blue. I want you to be not filled. And oh, nope, not filled. Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. So this guy is going to be an automation. And this is going to be, so your to-do list is to review info and then respond with, with acceptance, right? Respond with link to book, to pay and book, right? Right. And then, or say no, right? Or whatever that might be, right?
Right.
Okay. So there's my little dots. Okay, perfect. So this is an automation. So these are two things you're going to attach to that landing page or that page.
Can I ask a question real fast? And forgive my ignorance on this. What is the difference between a campaign and an automation? I'm still trying to grasp that.
Yeah. Yeah, a campaign is a series of messages that you've pre-written that are going to drip out in sequence based on, however you've designed it. And automation can do a lot of things. So an automation could apply a campaign, but an automation can also tag somebody. It can it can add a follow-up plan.
Oh, okay.
Which is what this is going to be. And we can actually go into your account and set this up real quick. Hold on, this is going to be a follow-up plan. So the automation is going to attach the follow-up plan to these people. So you're going to be reminded from your AttractWell system, review the information that this person who opted in here sent you, respond to this person. So you're going to see this as a to-do list inside your account. So automations can apply follow-up plans. They can apply campaigns. They can apply tags. They can remove any of those things. They can add them to vaults. They can trigger new campaigns, stop campaigns. So automations are anything that you want to automate in the system, whereas a campaign is a series of messages, email or text or both.
Okay.
All right. So if the answer is yes, then what you're going to do is you're going to have a slightly similar situation, right? And so this is for anybody that you say yes to. Move all this stuff around. Not quite mastered this program yet, but I'm absolutely loving it. Okay, so all right, so this is your, should probably add some text here. So this is the preliminary, we'll just call this preliminary funnel. And so this would be the confirm and pay. We'll just say, or new client, confirm and pay. Right, so this similar architecture here, you're probably not going to ask quite as many questions because they've already submitted some stuff to you, right? But you're also going to set this page up for payment, right? Now you will attach a campaign to this, where instead of sending out, obviously it's confirmation, let's book your call. And then of course, we're going to send them now to here. So it's still essentially the same funnel. You have an intake funnel, and there is a manual step here. That's why you have this follow-up plan automation, because you need to be reminded to check and see if this person is the right fit, and you can say yes or no. And then this is something that you only send to them if and when they say, you know, the right things, right? And you're like, okay, well, you can come over here and you can pay, and then they get all this info.
And it would almost be as though that preliminary would need to funnel out to a whole other path. Like there's other options. And then, yeah.
So and so in that case, if there's something that you anticipate saying with basically anyone who's not a candidate for this offer, then you could have a new campaign that you apply to them that's maybe sort of introducing new concepts or warming them up to maybe a different offer that may be a better fit. Or of course, you can just, you could manually in an email to them, refer them toward whatever the next thing would be.
Beautiful. And then so too, for the back end, so this is after, like I've seen and worked with a client, one of the things I am in need of is figuring out how to do like the nurturing afterwards. So usually it's a lot of me, I would have them all like come into a group that's kind of an integration group. That way other people could have eyes and other people that were assisting me in this work. But I want to eliminate also that and really have like a honed in focus of integration ability on the back end with me. With like that's one thing I think that would be more campaign, I'm assuming, or
okay. Yes and no. So is this going to be taking place inside of a vault?
I had it up there. I'm just because the scope of my work, I did take it down for a little bit just because one, some of the coaches I've been talking to, I have a lot. Two, the nature of my work, it's, still discouraged in some states in the United States. So I want to just be careful and honor that path. And so just kind of trying to feel my way, like I'm in the intention right now to set up just integration, or maybe naming it something else of like, because basically it's one personal coaching is what you can really topple it under. So yeah, any advice in that would be stellar.
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, like if you're wanting to kind of hand off as much as possible in an automated fashion, the engagement piece, you want to make sure that people are being reminded to return if they haven't been logging in and have been present inside of a vault, just as an example. And so there's an email, and you can say after X number of days where they haven't logged in, you can send them something. And you could also, of course, send another. So there are two sort of inactivity emails that you have the ability to set up here, and that's under reminders in your vault right here. But if we have like an online class, for instance, and we go into a single message, you can, down here, you can run automations after people have completed lessons as well. So after they've marked something complete, you can have a new sequence of emails show up for them, or a single email in a campaign show up for them. That would be something that I would recommend. So if like this, this particular step represents something that's pretty important, and you want to maybe congratulate them or give them some kind of new, like basically you're offering sort of an unfolding experience. You've got the situation where there's a sequence of information they'll receive because it's in an online class format, but you can also deepen that by attaching automations that maybe apply a new campaign to them. Or maybe you kind of want the system to flag somebody who has reached a certain point and completed a certain lesson in the sequence so that you can maybe go take a look at the work that they've submitted, or you could reach out to them personally or something like that. So you can leverage automations attached to the different lessons inside of your content. And then of course, another option, and this is something that I use often, is I use this feature here requiring, there we go, requiring homework to be uploaded, right? So that does require an element of involvement and of candor on the part of the person who's participating. And then of course, if it's something that you want to actually personally take a look at before they move ahead, then you could choose to select this as well. And when you do that, it'll send off an email to you or to them, and you'll also get an email from the system saying that this person's requesting next steps. So your attention is called to it. So that kind of allows you to move in that direction without having to be like hyper present and kind of digging into all the details all the time, and just kind of let the system sort for you based on the actions people are taking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. That's beautiful. I've actually had that on one of my courses, and I've had people try to just turn in bogus homework, and so I'll reject it, and then it's almost like it's caused a hiccup in their path. They feel, yeah, like, so like I'm also question on that one in particular. I'm having a hard time from the dashboard there to find out where to review the work. I've found it on accident, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that I hadn't even seen.
Got you. So let me get into a different account. So actually, where would be a good place for me to go for this actually? In the interest of privacy, right? Because I don't want to show. So there's not going to be any homework here for me to show you, but I'm going to show you where you find it. Just using this dummy account here. But if we go to, let's go to this one. When you scroll down on your contact, you can obviously see what they've been doing and the things that they've been doing, but under vaults, there's a homework button here. And so anything that they have submitted, you'll see this here. And then you actually have the ability where things can be reviewed. You can actually provide them comments, request a new version, etc. That's all going to show up in this homework button right here. And you will also be able to see the last time somebody viewed something. You'll actually see the percentage of a video that they've watched. You'll see if they've even opened and seen the class contents with a little eye icon over here.
Now, I would have to do that for each individual student to be able to find it, because like there's a lot.
Yeah. At this stage, yeah. So if you're looking for homework submissions, it's going to be on a per contact basis. Yeah.
Okay. At first, I must have done it on accident. Then I ended up on a page in there where it showed everybody's homework that still needed review, and I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah. And that is the needs review tab for things that you haven't reviewed, for sure. And so, yeah, I guess this does show more than just the one client. If you look at the needs review and lesson approvals page.
How did you get there then?
Yeah, that's it.
It's on anybody's. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah. And with, obviously there's not a whole lot more you can really do to prevent people from choosing to Netflix content in courses. There's definitely some sort of, stopgaps, things that you can put in place like you already have with homework. But yeah, I wish there was a way to more fully connect people to like, hey, you're spending your time on this. you should maybe take it seriously. But, people are going to people. So,
Yeah, I've had people drop thousands of dollars on a program, and just because they couldn't figure out something in text, I've tried to create, like, in the AttractWell, studios, like following all the things, try to create like directional guidance for every single thing. I'm like, let me help you. And so it's definitely an interesting, process. I think my next step is like to really figure out the automations and the nurturing people afterwards.
mhm.
Yeah, and I love the forms thing. I'd love to just kind of dive into that and get a better handle. One of the things, I guess last question, I'm finding my resistance in this moment is I'm starting to get into all this little back stuff when I actually already hired someone to help me with it. I do believe it's important to know these things, obviously, as an owner. However, I'm noticing that I'm not building my courses out and actually getting something to sell, and my business is suffering. And I know that, like, in your client funnel challenge, like you talk about that, like, take care of the business now. I would love if you could just, I don't know, yell at me or tell me anything important to kind of just help me clear that, that resistance or focus, or what could be something easy that I could get on here. Do I focus on the connection calls and start really highlighting that? Do I focus on, like, I've got tons of little ebook things, but nobody's, that's not, it's so not, it's so far from what I really bring to the table.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I think that where most of us aren't giving enough focus, that really needs the most focus, and like yesterday, is on authority, and that's going to be in public facing content, and then bridging off from that public facing content to increase your PR value, and like being interviewed on podcasts, getting in front of bigger and better audiences, creating a couple of keynotes, establishing yourself as somebody who could speak in front of an audience, like that kind of thing. The expert positioning stuff, because there's a bajillion little kind of bitty things that you can do. And the fact is you could hire our team, like you could fire off an idea and our team could come up with a plan and an execution strategy. And if we've got your branding, like we could just kind of do it all for you. But the thing that you can never outsource is your expertise, your voice. And so anything that you can do to position that more effectively so that you are getting access to a bigger pool of potential people and even better leads, better targeted people, that would be the encouragement, because you obviously have things in place that you're selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you've got a list. So it's really about leveling up from there, because you'll always be able to improve on the stuff that you're doing. And if you are paying attention, throughout, obviously don't micromanage. It is important to kind of take an emotional step back and ask yourself, whether or not this really is something that's representational, like the thing that you're focusing on, is that representational of something that moves the needle? Or, am I mounting a molehill here?
Right. I love your teachings, Ashley, because like in the stuff, even in your courses, you talk so much about that action step to get them to implement it. And from being in person, like that's where it happens in person. So for me to like learn how to translate what I do into an action step that they can take, I'm noticing there's a lot of work there. And when you mentioned that about like showing up and getting out there, I know that's my next step. And everyone that I'm talking to is telling me the same thing, because that's the magic, right? And what I really do. But question, like I know I'm really playing around with going to like I think it's webinars or webcasting. I'm not sure the names or terminology, but getting on the lives and interviewing with people and stuff. But would you like on my website, on my homepage, like would you leave it as is, or would you like put a lead magnet to a live, or would I have like a lead page to get in with like a video? Like, I mean, there's so many options that everyone's telling me. I don't know, like, and then like someone says, yeah, you need to do a web page or webcasting or whatever it is. And I'm like, I don't even, I'm learning all this tech. I'm really smart. I'm really fast learner, but I don't even know, like, okay, that's like learning all this technology. And I kind of don't want to spend another 2 months learning another form of technology, because it's I'm not good, I don't want to put myself in risk anymore financially.
Right, right. Yeah. So if you want to start doing, I think that regular live content is a phenomenal way to come up with raw material that can become marketing material, number one. Pay it forward value wise in a massive way. And of course, do this in a way that's really leveraged. And I assume it's probably something that would flow really well for you as well, because you're basically just turning on a camera and you're talking, and maybe you're even, communicating and facilitating with others. Because of the nature of what you do and the concerns that you have around, sort of keeping things close, and whether or not, state to state, what have you, basically some of the concerns that you've brought up. I would have an opt-in process in front of it, but make it very high value, and by all means, at least in the beginning, maybe make it a free thing that people can sign up for, and do it once a month. I wouldn't do it too crazy often, because this isn't a support call. This is you showing up and being an expert. You're gonna lead a facilitation, or you're going to explain how this thing works in this context that's important to people, or etc. Right?
Yeah. So that's kind of the plan. So if you see on my website, the tribe, the membership, that's the membership hub.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was like maybe going live with that as part of being a member. You get live, you get access to my sessions, you get access to the things.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next step is the Wild Rising membership, really where it's focused on women, and it's a combination of like wild feminine alchemy, really diving deeper into developing a spiritual path and conscious entrepreneurship. So developing that alpha warrior woman, kind of ask, how do you balance both worlds of the modern and having, very woo-woo love life, and really focusing in on that. So that one, it's going to be like a month-to-month elite coaching program. And on the new moons, full moons, it's an entire class of going into, and I've got that set up. And then after that, it's the one-on-ones, of course,
Mm-hmm.
for more nurturing. And I figure low ticket items. And then the high ticket is the courses that are like 7 moons. And then
Mm-hmm.
my plan is that'll be just 7 months out of the year. They also get the membership with that. So they'll get the live and then the course. And then the other 4 months of the year is when I do the retreat, which will be Rise, the high end. So it's kind of low I'm looking, but even when I say that, it's such a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Actually, what I would encourage you to do, and this would actually be very similar to what you see us doing, albeit what we do on a weekly basis. I would recommend you only really do this once a month. And the purpose of you doing this, having a live call, is just as much for your PR as it is for sort of connecting more deeply with your tribe. Because I think that the people who get you, who see the value in what they do, they can see that very easily, and they can just latch right away, right? But the thing that I'm kind of suggesting here would be like an introduction to you. So it's the people who are already following, who are already paying attention. This isn't really for them. You've got loads of things that you've created for them. We're talking about something that's just, it's more above the surface. It's at a shallower level, where people can learn more about you, the function of what you do. This would be the kind of thing that a practitioner of some kind could sit in on and watch as an info session to get a feel of whether or not they want to refer their patients or clients to you. Or, somebody who has a publication trying to see whether or not they want to interview you or have you on their podcast. Something like that. Like it's not super deep, and it's not super directional, but it is relevant. Right. And it's just sort of like an intro. Absent that, you could do something like that, but a podcast would serve similar purposes as well, for what it's worth. I mean, you could do that, or you could do it live. You could do this as YouTube videos. You don't have to worry too much about the tech. I don't think that doing webinars is really necessary at all for what you do. If somebody's on your list and you send out an invite, because you do a once a month call and you got to be on the list to get an invite, then you can do a Zoom call, just a Zoom call, like what you have in AttractWell. And that's totally fine. Because it's just going to be some kind of light educational pathway toward the other things that you're doing, because everything that lives up at the top is really serving to echo that people need to dig deeper, right? It's just another thing that's kind of warming them up toward moving forward, and that's moving with greater depth. So so some kind of content, if it's live, that's great. But this, again, it could be a podcast or YouTube type series as well. Just anything where somebody gets to see you, and since you're not in person with them, they get to see you, they get to hear you, and they get to get some context around like what you do and how that might be beneficial to them.
Yeah, I'm also learning. I love that you're saying that. That's directly in line with where I'm feeling that I need to go. Yay, me. Let's get out there. Yeah, I'm really focusing and honing in, learning to translate the words that I use in such an alchemical way into layman's terms. And I don't mean that in any derogatory way. It's, we all have a subculture of language and terminology that you use in any type of demographic or, type of, field, but I'm learning how to make these things even more approachable to everyday life, just holistic and alternative basics. And yeah, so I appreciate that. Could I ask this last one quick
Sure.
question? The tribe, so that's that membership hub. Right now it's free. It's like, come in, be a part of the tribe, kind of feel like I've got stuff. I want to give you a free Reiki training. You want to be a practitioner here, have my things. Be a part of the team, see the things. Would you suggest charging that as like, or just leaving that very open? Like,
early on, I think it's not a bad idea to have it be free, because you're kind of learning how you want to interact in this space. You're starting to kind of give an opportunity to people to see what they want their involvement to be. Before long, you kind of get to a point where no matter how much value you're putting in there, people will respond in kind if they have skin in the game, and really kind of only if they do. And as you know, in some cases, even when they have a lot of skin in the game, sometimes they still don't do. But yeah, I think it would behoove you to consider at some point adding some kind of fee to it. And so maybe you can even be looking at building the community right now as saying, this is something that will be charged in the future. But, right now you get to be the first to access it, to, do this or that thing. Like, you kind of position it in a promotional way if you want, but I would eventually put a price on that. Because again, as your perceived value grows, the greater opportunity lives there, not just for you to profit as a business person, but maybe even more importantly, for people to take seriously the information that they're getting. Because again, a lot of people will just treat a free thing like a cheap consumable, as opposed to really honoring it for the value that it has, because they haven't really had to like go through that mental emotional process of dipping into their pocket and paying for it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. The trainings online, are amazing too. Just being able to review all these things, it's such a help. Like, I started this, I think, in the middle of November, and yeah, the amount of work and process that's been done in just these few months.
This is impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. And now I'm borrowing money from friends. It's time to actually start working again. And I'm really missing it. It's in line with spring coming and stuff. So I really feel excited about that. And
we're so thrilled you're with us. And really, you should be proud of this work you've done, because it looks amazing.
Yeah, well, it wasn't without your guys' guidance. So thank you. And all my, emails, what do I do now? And yeah, so for lead magnets, would you suggest like 7-day like stuff? Just
oh, you mean just like a sequence in a funnel?
Yeah, just
it kind of it depends on what the design is for, right? Like, if you're selling a thing and like the goal is to try to convert them onto the thing that you're selling after you give them a free thing, then you're gonna, 7 to 10 days is totally fine for that initial sequence where you're really kind of ramping up into a sales message. And then of course you want to maybe have an automation remove that campaign from them. Of course, you're going to have the campaign's going to be removed when they buy the thing, right? Which is obvious, a little bit more obvious, right? Like that's a pre-entry or like a pre-sale campaign in a vault, or you just, you have an automation remove that campaign from somebody when they purchase. But then, you just want to tag them with your general mailing list, and then with whatever content that you're sending out, moving from that point forward, then they're just getting the regular nurture that everybody else would get if they didn't buy.
Okay. All right. I think that's a good start for the next phase.
Awesome.
Beautiful. And if you get a chance, can we do this? I'm so sorry. I know I'm needy. Just the calendar I hooked up, the Calendly, but what happens after they, like, I got the confirmation that they booked. But then what? Now what now? Like,
yeah. So if you're using Calendly, just as an example, well, first, if you have it set up the way that I shared today,
yes, exactly the way.
In AttractWell, they're going to fill out a form. You're going to get an email when they fill out that form. Right? So you're going to get an email from AttractWell, or you're going to get a notification from AttractWell that says somebody filled out that form. So now you're on the lookout for the next email that should be coming to you, which is from your Google Calendar or from your Calendly or whatever, right? Like, and that's saying, this date, this time, this is the date that they chose, right? So that's what's going to happen for you. And then of course, any reminders you might have set up in your own scheduling, like with your calendars, it's personal preferences. Obviously, like depending on how you have it set up, you may be getting reminders about when the call starts. All you have to do is go into their contact card, look in their past actions, and pull up their answers to the questions that they answered before they booked. And now you're ready for your call. And then on their end, they're going to receive that first email from you that's, hey, if you haven't done this yet, head over here and book the call. And then they will, on your behalf from your scheduler, they'll be receiving, as however you've set it up, they'll be receiving those reminders for the call. And that's just set up when you set up the event in Calendly or whatever scheduler you're using, you can say, I want them to receive an email versus a text. I want it to go out at this point. I want it to say this. Like, you can actually customize those things in the scheduler. I just use it as it's set up. Because it's going to send them a confirmation right away. And then I think, like, I don't know, an hour before or something like that, they receive some kind of a notification. And of course, when they book, they're given the option to put it onto their calendar, etc. But I always see it on my calendar, and I just go into AttractWell and I hit start meeting, and on that recurring event, and you're good to go.
And I think that's the portion. And you went over that earlier in this thing, so I'll just have to review that. I think that's what I'm looking for, is like, I need to go back into Calendly and make sure the location for that Zoom link from Acuity is hooked up in the right space. Okay, that's the next. All right,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for coming out and sharing with us today.
Appreciate it.
Okay, let's see. See if you're still here. Was the best time to set up group call in the USA and also global? That's a really hard question to answer. There are time zone converter websites. I would consult your group though, honestly, and kind of see who's open to what. If you've got folks who are in South Pacific and also in, the East Coast of the United States, like, you're gonna have really challenging kind of, somebody's gonna have their Friday night, like, just over, and somebody's gonna be up at 4 a.m. So that's a little bit difficult to figure out, but you can use a time zone converter. And if you're using a scheduler, like, Calendly, which is what we showed today, that does have the ability to show a time in a local person's time zone. So they'll actually be able to see based on their calendar. So I've had people, for instance, book on my Calendly who are in Australia. They just happen to pick a time that's earlier in the day for them, which is at the end of the day for me, or something like that. So thank you for your question. And thank you guys for sticking around and being amazing and asking incredible questions. And for Kia for showing us the incredible work she's been doing. Much love to you for that. And you guys will be back next week with more. If you have something you'd like to learn more about, you want to dig deeper into something that we've touched on, but you feel like there's more to it that you want to learn, let us know. We look forward to working with you again next week, everybody. Have a great week.